Well, thank you all for taking the time to sit in with us this evening. Again, my name is Clinton Hall, and I coordinate the Neighborhood Experiences and Any in the City projects.
Hi, everyone. My name is Reyes, and I coordinate the Teens in Motion program. So just to kind of start off with just some general program information, Neighborhood Experiences, NE in the City, and Teens in Motion all run the same dates. We are scheduled to be an in-person program this summer. It's an 8-week summer program that runs from June 13th through August 5th. And we do have a break kind of in the middle for 4th of July. And this year, those dates where we will not be holding program are July 4th through July 8th. It's a Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Some eligibility requirements are to just be within that age range, which we'll go over in the next couple of slides specifically. Must be returning to school in the fall. And reside in St. Louis County or St. Louis City. There are some instances we've had St. Charles residents in the past, but that is kind of different, and we would have to speak on a one-to-one basis in regards to how that works. So if you are interested in this program but kind of live in that area, please do give one of us a call, and our information will be at the end of this presentation. The participants, once they are kind of accepted into the project, can participate up to 4 summers, and that can be a combination. So if your son or daughter is 14 and they start out in Teens in Motion, and as they kind of age and gain the skill sets, they're able to kind of move up to the next program, which would be that Neighborhood Experiences, to kind of further their skill sets and volunteer experience. We do before and after care. We don't necessarily do that as like an agency, but we do speak with our staff to kind of connect with families to kind of assist with that. We do realize that our program kind of runs in that awkward time frame if you're a working parent. So we do our best to coordinate you with some staff who might be interested in doing some outside before and after care. And that's something where we connect you, and then you as the family and that individual would then need to kind of speak, go over how you'd like to run that, pay, things like that. We're not involved in that aspect. Going back super quick to our dates, I did want to address that this summer we are having to implement that participants be with our program the full 8 weeks and throughout the entire day. So if you are a family whose son or daughter typically participates in extended school year, we are having to ask parents to kind of make that decision of doing extended school year or one of our projects. This is kind of coming from a funder's source, and we've just kind of had to reshift some things on our end. So we do ask that all teens and participants are present every day for the full 8 weeks, and any vacations be kind of outside those program dates or within that 4th of July break that we have. Our staff are typically college age or older. We have a lot of staff who may be going to college nearby or returning home for the summer from college. We've had occupational therapists, physical therapists, art therapists, music therapists, social workers, kind of things in that line of degree that come to work with us in the summer. We also see a lot of teachers who maybe have that summer break as well, kind of come in and give us some assistance and want to be a part of our staff. So our staff are 18 and older, and like I said, most of the time within that college age to late 20s, early 30s. Staff participant ratios are a little different per the programs. Teens in Motion is typically a 1-to-2. We have very limited 1-to-1 spots available, and those 1-to-1s are typically designated for those individuals who might have higher support needs, whether that be needs in personal hygiene or assistance at meal times. So we do have limited spots in that regard. Other groupings are more 1-to-2 or 1-to-3, kind of depending on what we're doing for that day. Teens in Motion also kind of what I like to call it as a wolf pack mentality. So a lot of times a staff and the two teens paired with that staff and another staff and their teens will kind of go off together and do things. Neighborhood and any in the city is a little bit more volunteer focused. So that strictly is a 1-to-2 ratio, or their 1-to-1 spots are qualified for individuals who are seeking employment by the end of the summer. So that grouping will really forge in applications and interview skills and setting up interviews with businesses and establishments to try and get them a job at the end of the summer. This year, due to this lovely thing that we know as COVID, we are requiring all of our staff and participants to be fully vaccinated for COVID-19 to participate in our summer projects this year. The application fee is $200, so you will turn that in with your application for the program. And then the additional program fee is $1,200, so a total of $1,400 for the projects. That $1,200 you can do all at once, or we do have a 3-payment plan option. And we also have some financial assistance available if that is something that you'd be interested in. And then that $200 application fee is kind of that deposit, so to speak. And Clinton will go over that a little bit later as well.
How are the volunteer sites identified?
So volunteer sites, it kind of bases off which project. So Teens in Motion, I will coordinate and kind of predetermine, so to speak, volunteer sites for the summer. So coming up here in about a month or so, I'll be reaching out to businesses and organizations and kind of get a schedule set up. And we try and get as diversified as we can, because we want them to get to know different things, find their interest, what they're good at, what they'd like to do, and to just try a variety of things. And so that is set up through me. And then at the beginning of each day, as the teens come in for the morning, there's usually 2 to 3 different volunteer sites that they can choose from for that morning. Volunteer sites have included U City Fire Department, animal shelters, daycare centers, retail stores, clothing stores. I believe we've done an ice cream shop in the past. We've done coffee shops. So really as diversified as we can get. And then NE and NE in the city, since it is more so for the older teens, it's really kind of getting them in that mindset of what it is like to seek employment when they're older. So that first week of program, the teens and the staff partner will kind of go through, what piques their interest, what do they like to do, what do they see themselves doing after high school, and then they will actually spend that first week going to different businesses and advocating and seeing if they could use volunteers and kind of setting up their own schedule in that regard.
I did also want to mention, in terms of going back to the About Our Staff bulletin point, in terms of how our staff are trained, we do a full week-long kind of 9 to 4 extensive training with all of the staff that work with us each summer on areas such as, positive behavior supports. We train folks in a de-escalation system that we use called the MANT system. We do require all of our staff to be first aid and CPR certified. Since staff transport the participants in their personal vehicles to their volunteer and recreational opportunities, we also require staff to have a Class E chauffeur's license if their driver's license is through the state of Missouri, or have that equivalent license through whatever state their driver's license might be if they don't live in Missouri. So like Illinois, for example. I did just want to make that clear for everybody as well. We're not just tossing your sons and daughters out into the world with
Absolutely
nobody
not.
with no training or experience.
Okay, so Teens in Motion, you kind of heard a little bit of spiel in regards to specific programs, things, but just going through it again. So Teens in Motion is that first, what I kind of relate it to as a first stepping stone in our programs that we offer. So it's for ages 13 to 15. We have 2 locations that your son or daughter would be dropped off at in the morning and be picked up from in the afternoon. One of those is our St. Louis ARC office on Worsen, and then a south site, which is to be determined at this time. Usually the south site is kind of located in that Kirkwood, Maplewood area. And then the Worsen site is more Creve Coeur, Olivet. And you can determine which location you would prefer, whether that's based on your home address, or if you live in Kirkwood but you work over in Olivet, sure, absolutely you can mark down the Worsen site as your preferred location if that's a little bit easier of a transportation for you. Monday through Thursday, kind of like what I was saying a few minutes ago, we volunteer in the morning. So like I said, your son or daughter would come in for that morning, greet everybody, kind of get prepared for the day, go and see which volunteer sites they have available that day, and choose where they'd like to go. And then in the afternoons is more of our recreation and educational programming. So recreation being, maybe arts and crafts, or going to the science center, the zoo, things like that. And then we also do educational pieces as well throughout the week. And those have included cooking, music therapy, art therapy. We've done an advocacy class that we would like to continue as well. And we've done what we kind of call our teen scene, which is about, building socialization skills and kind of healthy relationships. And then Friday is kind of our fun Friday. And in the morning, we do a big group volunteer project. We'll either do something like that, maybe like the food bank all together, or we do a tour of a facility, or a recreation opportunity as one large group. Sometimes we team up with neighborhood and we'll do a fun kickball tournament or wacky Olympics, and it's kind of fun because it's Teens in Motion against the older kids in neighborhood, so it's a good time. And then in the afternoon on Friday is recreation of their choosing. A lot of times in the summer, that's typically the swimming pool, cooling off after a long week of hard work, and typically we all go together. Some tours that we've done in the past are the chocolate, and the safety house, which is at I believe the West County Fire Station, and that's always a super fun time. They know us pretty well, so they get to see, the fire trucks, the ambulance, kind of learn about fire safety, cooking safety, things like that, and then get to kind of talk with the firefighters. And it's just a really fun time for all. I enjoy going, so it's fun.
My daughter did Teens in Motion first year of COVID, missed last year, and is now 16. Can she still attend?
Yes, absolutely. So we definitely try and keep that age bracket within the same, just so everybody can be peer related and kind of going in that kind of projected timeline as we get older and progress and learn new skills. But absolutely, if your son or daughter participated a couple years ago and it's kind of getting back into the swing of things, absolutely they can come back to Teens in Motion. Also, someone brand new, Clinton and myself will typically do an intake together. And if your son or daughter's, right on that cusp of 15, not quite 16, we kind of do that intake together to see, which program might be the better fit. So definitely that's an option.
These are just some fun pictures from past summers of Teens in Motion, both recreational opportunities, as well as some pictures from different volunteer sites.
So we have Raccanelli's where we do some pizza folding champ right there. City Museum up fun in the ball pits doing a recreation. Kind of down on the bottom is I think Wacky Olympics and some zoos. The JCC garden right there in the center where we learn gardening skills. And then over here with the painting with the lovely gentleman in blue, we did kind of a science art project all in the same. So we made our own volcanoes and learned about volcanic eruptions. So that was pretty fun.
So I'm going to talk to you all about neighborhood experiences in any in the city, but I will start with neighborhood experiences. So this project is for teens who live in St. Louis County and are between the ages of 16 to 20 years old. Like Teens in Motion, you as parents can choose between two sites that your son or daughter would go to each day during the 8 weeks. Either our St. Louis ARC office in Creve Coeur on North Warson Road, or that south site, which, like Bree mentioned, is to be determined. With neighborhood experiences, again, like Bree mentioned a little bit ago, we are more volunteer focused. So Monday through Thursday, the teens that participate are volunteering both in the morning as well as in the afternoon, usually between 2 to 2.5 hours with that break for lunch in between them. We have volunteered at all manner of places, animal shelters, grocery stores, movie theaters, restaurants, thrift stores, libraries, daycares, community centers, kind of the sky's the limit in terms of, places that we have volunteered before or places that we would love to volunteer in the future. Like Bree mentioned, during the first week of the program, our teens work with the staff that they're paired with to research and secure usually anywhere between 4 to 6 volunteer sites that they then volunteer at for the remaining 7 weeks. On Fridays with neighborhood, since we do have more of a volunteer focus, that is where our fun comes in. So similarly to Teens in Motion, in the mornings, those will generally be either group volunteer opportunities at places like the St. Louis Food Bank, Earth Dance Farm, the St. Louis Crisis Nursery, the St. Louis Diaper Bank, or it could be some type of tour. In the past, we have toured places such as Busch Stadium. We've gone to Boeing. We generally every year try to link up with the UMSL Succeed program to where we go and visit the UMSL campus and get to talk with somebody from the Succeed program to give us more information about that, which is always a really good time. And then Friday afternoons are where neighborhood gets to have their fun. So usually by Wednesdays, we ask that staff work with their teens as a group to decide what they would like to do for that Friday afternoon recreation piece, whether that be going swimming, going to the movies, going bowling, going to the zoo or the science center. And then they get to do that fun stuff in the afternoon. One last thing I would like to mention as well that before I move on is that towards the end of the summer, within neighborhood experiences, as well as Teens in Motion, our teens do work with their staff to create a a resume of the different volunteer experiences that they did during that summer, and, outlining the location, the different tasks and things that they were responsible for. And then they also assist them with creating a picture portfolio so that they have these tools that they can take with them once the 8 weeks of the projects have ended, to then, hopefully aid them in either finding other volunteer opportunities outside of the summer, or, our ultimate goal would be that those would help them find that competitive employment. Any in the City is essentially the same program model as what I just described for individuals in the county. But this one is for those who specifically reside in St. Louis City. This does have a slightly different age range of 13 to 20 years old. However, I would like to mention priority will be given to the teens that apply for that 16 to 20 age range. However, if we get someone that's 13 who applies, and we still have spots to fill, then that is when we would look at those 13 to 15 year participants for Any in the City specifically. For this project, we will have one pickup and drop off site for parents to pick up and drop off from, which will be the new Del Mar Divine Center, which is located at 5501 Del Mar Boulevard. Again, like I said, this is the same model as neighborhood experiences. So Monday and Thursday, Any in the City participants are volunteering in the morning and in the afternoon at those volunteer sites that they secure with their staff. And then on Fridays, those group volunteer opportunities or tours take place in the morning, and then they have those recreational activities of their group's choosing in the afternoon.
They do have to be returning to school the following year, correct? At the end of the summer?
Yes, that is correct. Thank you for that, Anne. And one other thing that I think both Bree and I have not mentioned yet is that to participate in any of these three projects, aside from returning to school in the fall and living in, either St. Louis County or St. Louis City, your son or daughter does also have to have a diagnosis of a developmental disability. And that proof of disability can either be provided from their, service coordinator through regional center, or as a letter from a physician. And then they do also have to live in their natural home as well.
There was a question about when do they get breaks and lunch?
Yeah, that's a great question. So breaks, we try to just kind of naturally build those into the day as teens need them. One teen, might be able to go the full 2.5 hours at their volunteer site without a break, and that's great. Whereas another teen, they might be able to work for 20 to 30 minutes and then need a little bit of a break, and that's all right too. We can definitely accommodate those as needed. And then in terms of when we take a break for lunch, it usually takes place around noon. Again, that kind of depends when that morning volunteering is over for that specific day, but usually between 11:30 and noon, the teens and their staff, for Teens in Motion, they usually all go back to their pickup and drop off site and eat lunch together as a group. In neighborhood experiences, because the volunteer sites are a little bit more individualized, staff and the teens they're paired with might be the only group that's at a volunteer site. So they, might just stay there and eat their lunch, or they might go back to their pickup and drop off. But usually, yeah, anywhere kind of between 11:30 to noon, and then usually about 45 minutes to an hour is how long that lunch break lasts before we then go on to whatever we're doing in the afternoon.
And do they bring their lunch or buy their lunch?
Another great question. I would say that the majority of the teens who participate bring their lunch each day. However, if you wanted to send money for your son or daughter to purchase lunch each day, that's all right too. That information would just need to be communicated to the staff person so that they can make sure that if they are needing to purchase lunch that day, then that can be taken care of. I will say that a lot of times parents will send lunch maybe Monday through Thursday. And then, as more so of a reward to their son or daughter for, working hard and doing a good job during that first of the week, then they might send some money for them to eat out as like a little more of a treat to end that week. But again, that is up to you as the parents to decide how you'll go about that. But we can accommodate either. At any of the sites that we would be using for pickup and drop off, there are refrigerator space available for teens to, put those lunch boxes in if they need to stay cold as well. Again, here's just some more fun pictures from past summers, riding on the Metro Link. Looks like volunteering at Red Rocks or St. Vincent de Paul, bowling at an animal shelter. I think this might have been the crisis nursery. And then I'm not sure where this picture was from because this was before my time, but looks like they're having a great time volunteering. So, all right. And then now I will talk about our registration process. So by the end of next week, our hope is to send out our brochure and registration materials to families and those that are interested. That information will be sent via email. And we are hoping, to do the majority of our registration process online this year. If you had questions about that, obviously, feel free to give me or Bri a call, and we can answer whatever questions those might be. Our registration will open on February 18th. So on that day is when we will begin accepting registrations for all three projects, Teens in Motion, Neighborhood Experiences, and Any in the City. And then that registration period will be open until April 18th. After April 18th, then we will not be accepting applications after that date. I do want to mention, that submitting a registration for any of these three projects is not a 100% guarantee that your son or daughter will get into that desired program. And that is kind of due to how we assess our open spots. So, like Bri mentioned earlier, teens are able to participate in these projects for a total of 4 summers, as long as they still meet the eligibility requirements. So the first, people that we give spots to are return participants who have participated before and are applying again for this summer. I would say usually within the first 3 weeks to a month that our registration is open, we have a pretty good idea of who those return participants are going to be, and then kind of what open spots we still have available. So then we look at people who have been on our waiting list from previous summers. If after we have gone through our wait list of participants and we still have openings, then that is when we look at brand new applicants. I will say that if you have never participated before and are interested in participating, I would still submit a registration form. because whether or not your son or daughter gets in this summer, then it gets you on that waiting list for the next year and gives you kind of a leg up, as opposed to being a brand new applicant. If you have registered your son or daughter, but maybe something else arises, whether that be a different opportunity, some kind of family emergency, whatever that might be for you, and you need to cancel. If you cancel by May the 18th, then you will receive a refund of the application fee of $200. After that May 18th date, we cannot guarantee that we'll be able to provide a refund after that time.
Just reiterating that we are trying to move to a all online format. So there will be a link that is provided to kind of our online registration form, and it's a secure link for you to do that payment as well. So just so you are aware that that is a secure link to be able to input your credit card information for that payment of the $200. If you have any issues with accessing the online format, do please give either Clinton or myself a call, and we can move forward from there.